Now we come to the next chapter, ninth chapter, Vana Samyutta. This course is connected. Vana is the woods, the forest. These Vitas concerned monks in the forest. 9.1. On one occasion, a certain monk was dwelling among the Kosalans in a certain woodland thicket. Now on that occasion, while that monk had gone for his day's abiding, he kept on thinking evil, unwholesome thoughts connected with the household life. Then the Devata that inhabited that woodland thicket, having compassion for that monk, desiring his good, desiring to stir up a sense of urgency in him, approached him and addressed him in verses. Desiring seclusion, you enter the woods, yet your mind gushes outwardly. Remove, man, the desire for people, then you will be happy, devoid of lust. You must abandon discontent, be mindful. Let us remind you of that way of the good. Hard to cross indeed is the dusty abyss. Don't let sensual dust drag you down. Just as a bird litters the soil, with a shake flicks off the sticky dust, so a monk, strenuous and mindful, with a shake flicks off the sticky dust. Then that monk, stirred up by that Devata, acquired a sense of urgency. That's the end of the sutta. So you see, this monk, like some monks, they go into the forest with this noble intention to practice, but they are disturbed by all these habitual thoughts that they have been carrying around for so many years, and it's very hard to shake off them. So when the Deva came to give him this advice, he must have been a shock for him that somebody can read his mind. So after that, he has to practice hard, and he knows that somebody is reading his mind. 9.2. On one occasion, a certain monk was dwelling among the Kosalans in a certain woodland thicket. Now on that occasion, when the monk had gone for his day's abiding, he fell asleep. Then the Devata that inhabited that woodland thicket, having compassion for that monk, desiring his good, desiring to stir up a sense of urgency in him, approached him and addressed him in verses. Get up, monk, why lie down? What need do you have for sleep? What slumber can there be for one afflicted, stricken, pierced by the dark? Mature in yourself that faith with which you left behind the home life and went forth into homelessness. Don't come under sloth's control. And the monk said, sensual pleasures are impermanent, unstable. Though the dullard is enthralled with them, when he is free, detached among those bound, why trouble one gone forth? When by the removal of desire and lust and the transcendence of ignorance, that knowledge has been cleansed, why trouble one gone forth? When by breaking ignorance with knowledge and by destruction of the chains of asavas, he is sorrowless, beyond despair, why trouble one gone forth? When he is energetic and resolute, always firm in his exertion, aspiring to attain Nibbana, why trouble one gone forth? That's the end of the sutta. So here, I'm not sure whether this monk is already an arahant or not. But if he is an arahant, if he takes a rest, then he still have sati, because arahant has sati, recollection 24 hours a day. It could be that he is already an arahant, so he will climb his way to the Devata. Or it could be that he is practicing very hard, although he has not become an arahant. He's practicing very hard, but maybe he just fell asleep. So that's why he told the Deva, why trouble me? He's energetic and resolute, always firm in his exertion. So that is one of the reasons why monks like to go to forest areas or to secluded areas to practice, because when you're alone there, you seem to be alone, but actually there's a lot of spirits around us. So if you are lazy, something will come and disturb you. So even though you're alone, you always sense that their eyes looking at you. So you dare not be lazy. especially like sleeping in the, resting in the cemeteries. 9.3. On one occasion, the venerable Kassapa Gota was dwelling among the Kosalans in a certain woodland thicket. On that occasion, when he had gone for his day's abiding, the venerable Kassapa Gota exhorted a certain hunter, that means advised a certain hunter. Then the Devata that inhabited the woodland thicket, having compassion for the venerable Kassapa Gota, desiring his good, desiring to stir up a sense of urgency in him, approached him and addressed him in verses. The monk strikes me as a dolt, a fool, who out of season exhorts a hunter, roaming in the rugged mountains, with little wisdom, devoid of sense. He listens, but does not understand. He looks, but does not see. Though the Dhamma is being spoken, the fool does not grasp the meaning. Even if you would bring 10 lamps into his presence, Kassapa, still he would not see forms, for he does not have eyes to see. Then the venerable Kassapa Gota, stirred up by the Devata, acquired a sense of urgency. That's the end of the sutta. So this monk, he went to the forest to practice, and he saw this hunter. Probably advised the hunter, you should not do hunting, you break the first precept and blah 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 blah. So the Devata thought is giving useless advice to this hunter, because this hunter is a seasoned hunter, is not going to change his ways just because you advise him. So he told this venerable Kassapa. So venerable Kassapa realized that somebody is watching him, so he put his attention on his own practice instead of other people. 9.4. On one occasion, a number of monks were dwelling among the Kosalans in a certain woodland thicket. Then when they had spent the rains there, after the 3 months had passed, those monks set out on tour. Then the Devata that inhabited that woodland thicket, not seeing those monks, lamenting, on that occasion recited this verse. Today, discontent appears to me when I see here so many vacant seats. Where have they gone, Gautama's disciples, those splendid speakers rich in learning? And this was said, another Devata replied in verse. They have gone to Magadha, gone to Kosala, and some are in the Vajjan land. Like deer that roam free from ties, the monks dwell without a goal. That's the end of the sutta. So you see, sometimes if a good monk stay in a certain place, and when they leave, then the devas miss them. So in this case, this deva is asking, where have the monks gone? Those splendid speakers rich in learning. That means probably the monks either spoke a lot of Dhamma or discussed a lot of Dhamma. So this deva, he appreciates hearing Dhamma. So he missed the monks. And another deva said they have gone to so many different places that they dwell without a fixed abode. 9.5. On one occasion, the Venerable Ananda was dwelling among the Kosalans in a certain woodland thicket. On that occasion, the Venerable Ananda was excessively involved instructing lay people. Then the Devata that inhabited that woodland thicket, having compassion for the Venerable Ananda, desiring his good, desiring to stir up a sense of urgency in him, approached him and addressed him in verse. Having entered the thicket at the foot of a tree, having placed Nibbana in your heart, meditate Gautama and don't be negligent. What will all this hullabaloo do for you, for this uproar? And the Venerable Ananda, stirred up by that deity, acquired a sense of urgency. The end of the sutta. So here, Venerable Ananda usually is quite compassionate towards lay people. So he was teaching the lay people too much, so at the expense of his cultivation. So the Devata advised him. So that was helpful for him also. 9.6. On one occasion, the Venerable Anuruddha was dwelling among the Kosalans in a certain woodland thicket. Then a certain Devata of the Tavatimsa coast, named Jalini, a former consort of the Venerable Anuruddha, approached him and addressed him in verse. I'll stop here for a moment. This Venerable Anuruddha was one of the Arahants with great psychic power. He could see 1,000-fold world systems like in the palm of his hand. His mind has expanded so much that he could see 1,000 worlds in the palm of his hand. So here, his former wife from the heaven of the 33 devas, Tavatimsa heaven, that means the second heaven above the second heaven in the sensual desire realm. So the former wife of Emperor Anuruddha came to see him and addressed him in verse. Direct your mind there to that realm where you dwelt in the past among the Tavatimsa devas, for whom all desires are fulfilled. You will shine forth highly honored, surrounded by celestial maidens. Stop here for a while. So here you see the former wife is telling him to direct his mind to the Tavatimsa heaven. Why? Because if he directs his mind to the Tavatimsa heaven, constantly thinks of the Tavatimsa heaven, then it's likely that he will be reborn there again. This is what the wife wanted. Then he said, miserable are celestial maidens established in identity, and miserable too are those beings attached to celestial maidens. And the Devi said, they do not know bliss who have not seen Nandana, the abode of the glorious male devas, belonging to the host of 30. This Nandana is the Nandana grove where the devas enjoy sensual pleasures. And Venerable Anuruddha said, don't you know, you fool, that maxim of the Arahants, impermanent are all formations, their nature is to arise and cease. Having arisen, they cease. Their appeasement is blissful. This is one of the chants we just did just now. Anicca, Vata, Sankara, Upada, Vaya, Dhamino, this one. And then finally Venerable Anuruddha said, now I will never again dwell among the Deva host, Jalini. The wandering on in birth is ended. Now there is no more renewed existence. That's the end of the sutta. So this former wife, this Devi, must have been disappointed to hear that he's not going to take rebirth anymore. Another sutta 9.9. On one occasion, a certain monk, a virgin prince, was dwelling at Vesali in a certain woodland thicket. Now on that occasion, an all-night festival was being held in Vesali. Then that monk, lamenting as he heard the clamour of instruments, gongs and music coming from Vesali, on that occasion recited this verse, we dwell in the forest all alone, like a dog rejected in the woods. On such a splendid night as this, who is there worse off than us? Then that Devata that inhabited that woodland thicket, having compassion for that monk, desiring his good, desiring to stir up a sense of urgency in him, approached him and addressed him in verse. As you dwell in the forest all alone, like a log rejected in the woods, many are those who envy you, as hell beings envy those going to heaven. Then that monk, stirred up by that Devata, acquired a sense of urgency. It's the end of the sutta. So you see here, this monk, he was trying to practice and he was struggling in his practice, finding it so difficult. And then suddenly he hears all this beautiful music in the distance that makes him even more disturbed. So he was lamenting. He was in a sorrowful condition. And then the Deva came to ask him, you are not in a sorrowful condition. Many envy your position, just like those hell beings who are bound for hell, who are going to hell, will see people like you going to heaven. This reminds me many years ago when I was in Thailand, I was practicing in a cave. I also had a similar experience like this. I was practicing and my mind was not coming together, my meditation was not coming together. And I was alone in that cave and I was quite miserable. And then I heard this taxi driving some people to the village, and they're blaring all this beautiful Thai sentimental music. That also disturbed me more. So I was thinking, what the blooming hell am I doing here, away from my home, away from my country? But then there was for a short while only, so I didn't think too long. Otherwise, some deva would have disturbed me. 9.10. On an occasion, a certain monk was dwelling among the Kosalans in a certain woodland thicket. On that occasion, that monk had been excessively engrossed in recitation, chanting. But on a later occasion, he passed the time living at peace and keeping silent. Then that Devata that inhabited that woodland thicket, no longer hearing that monk recite the Dhamma, approached him, addressed him in verse, "Monk, why don't you recite Dhamma stanzas, living in communion with other monks? Hearing the Dhamma, one gains confidence. With this very life, the reciter gains praise." Let's stop here for a moment. So here this Deva, so used to this monk chanting the Dhamma, here probably means chanting the suttas, because the Buddhas, during the Buddha's time, they did not have books. So the monks would repeat the suttas, keep chanting the suttas. So when the monk stopped chanting, this Devata didn't have a chance to hear the Dhamma, so he tried to persuade the monk to continue chanting. And the monk said, "In the past, I was fond of Dhamma stanzas, so long as I had not achieved this passion. But from the time I achieved this passion, I dwell in what the good men call the laying down by final knowledge of whatever is seen, heard, or sensed." This is the end of the sutta. So here, this monk became an Arahant. So when he became an Arahant, he says, he has put down all that is seen, heard, and sensed, and no more attached to whatever is seen, whatever is heard, whatever is sensed. So that is why it was no more interested in chanting. An Arahant constantly dwells in his mind, goes inwards, no more interested in outside. 9.11. On one occasion, a certain monk was dwelling among the Kosalans in a certain woodland thicket. On that occasion, when that monk had gone for the day's abiding, he kept on thinking evil, unwholesome thoughts, that is, thoughts of sensuality, ill will, and harming. Then that Devata that inhabited that woodland thicket, having compassion for that monk, desiring his good, desiring to stir up a sense of urgency in him, approached him and addressed him in verses. "Because of attending carelessly, you, sir, are eaten by your thoughts. Having relinquished the careless way, you should reflect carefully by basing your thoughts on the teacher, on Dhamma, Sangha, and your own virtues. You will surely attain to gladness and rapture and happiness as well. Then when you are suffused with gladness, you will make an end to suffering." Then that monk, stirred up by that Devata, acquired a sense of urgency. So this is another compassionate Devata come to help a monk who was a bit slack in his practice. I think that's enough for today. I try to go fast because these suttas, one can go fast because they don't have so much Dhamma, anything like to discuss.
What is the triple knowledge in the six direct knowledges?
Okay. What are the triple knowledge and the six knowledges? These are called the abhinyas. Abhinyas, the higher knowledges. The Buddha himself he says in the sutta, the Buddha says that he was a triple knowledge man. That means what are the triple knowledge? The first one, he has a Deva eye. Deva eye. So when he has opened up his Deva eye, then he can see Devas, he can talk to Devas, he can see hell and all other realms of existence. That is one. Then another one is recollection of past life. If you remember the suttas, when the Buddha was enlightened, on the night of enlightenment, he used he attained to the fourth jhana, and coming out from the fourth jhana when the mind is so tranquil, he used the Deva eye to look at beings being born and dying according to karma. So the first one was Deva eye. Then after that he recollected his past lives. So the second one is recollection of past lives. The third one, when he recollected on the Dhamma, the Four Noble Truths, then he attained destruction of the asavas. So the third one is the destruction of the asavas. So these are the three knowledges. And then later the Buddha must have cultivated another three knowledges, because the maximum is the 6 knowledges. So the other 3 knowledges are the Deva ear, the divine ear, where you can hear these Devas and ghosts speaking, and then the reading another person's mind, reading other people's mind. And then the last one is psychokinesis, various types of psychic powers, like walking through the wall, diving into the earth, like diving into water, sitting cross-legged, flying like a bird. And then another one is one body can manifest into hundreds of bodies or thousands of bodies. And then sitting here, his hand can reach out and touch the moon, touch the sun. So this is the last one. So these are the 6 abhinyas, higher knowledges. But out of these 6, the most important is the destruction of the asavas. Once a person destroys the asavas, the uncontrolled mental outflows, he becomes liberated from samsara. No more reborn in samsara. In other words, he becomes enlightened. So when we practice the holy path, our aim is to destroy the asavas. That's the main aim. The psychic powers are secondary. So, like just now I read the sutta, approximately 1/4 of the enlightened ones, the arahants, approximately 1/4 of them, when they become enlightened, the psychic powers come naturally, and then the 3/4 of them don't have psychic power. Even though, like Venerable Sariputta, he has developed all the jhanas, and yet he has no psychic power. And also he has no desire to cultivate psychic powers, because there is no more ego, no more self. So because of that, once they become enlightened, if they don't have psychic powers, they just let it be. They don't crave for psychic power. So these are the 6 knowledges. So all arahants will have at least one of the knowledge, which is the destruction of the asavas.
What is the liberation by both ways, liberated in both ways, and while the rest are liberated by wisdom?
This liberated both ways is also liberated by mind. Arahants are liberated 2 ways, either liberated by wisdom or liberated by mind. If you read my book, it is mentioned there. I think Samatha and Vipassana, my book, is mentioned. This liberated by mind is also known as 2 ways liberated. Liberated by mind means liberated by mind as well as liberated by wisdom, whereas the other one is only liberated by wisdom. And from studying the suttas and the Vinaya books, it is most probably those who are liberated by mind or 2 ways liberated, they attain liberation during meditation. During meditation, when they enter into jhana, and then when they come out of jhana, and they use their jhana or their psychic powers, like the Buddha. The Buddha is liberated by mind, because he attained the jhanas, and after that he used the psychic power to see living beings dying and taking rebirth, dying again. Then after that he used his psychic power to look into his past lives, and then he remembered all the Dhamma he learned before. And then on the 3rd watch of the night, he contemplated on the 4 Noble Truths and attained liberation. So because he was using meditation, using jhana, so that arahant, when he's liberated, under those conditions, is called liberated by mind. That means he's using the force of his mind. Whereas people like Venerable Sariputta are called liberated by wisdom. Venerable Sariputta had attained all the jhanas, but one day where the Buddha was talking to an external ascetic, Venerable Sariputta, being a new disciple of the Buddha, was standing beside the Buddha and fanning the Buddha, just fanning the Buddha. And then when he heard the Buddha talking to the external ascetic, and then he understood what the Buddha said, and he contemplated, and then he became enlightened. And that is liberation by wisdom. When he's not meditating. When he's not meditating. So, for example, if somebody contemplates on the Dhamma, or he reads the Sutta, or he reflects on the Sutta, then he becomes liberated. That is liberated by wisdom. That is not during meditation.
Yesterday, last night discussion where all the Brahmins, when the Buddha just say a verse to them what they are liberated,
No. After the
first five on their own.
the
First five disciples that Buddha abandoned, are they liberated by wisdom?
yes, they are liberated by wisdom. The first 5 disciples, they had been following the Buddha for many years. So because the Buddha had attained jhana, it would be logical to assume that he must have taught them the jhanas. So after the Buddha was enlightened, the Buddha is mentioned in the Vinaya books. When the Buddha came to look for his 5 disciples, he did not ask them to meditate, He just asked them to sit down. He said, sit down, I will teach you the Dhamma. And the first sutta the Buddha discoursed was the Dhamma Cakkappavattana Sutta. So when the 5 monks heard it, one of them attained stream entry. Kondanya attained stream entry. The others had not attained. Then the Buddha kept teaching the Dhamma over a number of days. And during these few days, the monks would take turns. There were 5 monks plus the Buddha, 6 monks. Either 2 or 3 of them each day will go on alms round and bring back enough food for 6 of them. So over a number of days, the Buddha kept teaching the Dhamma to them. Finally, when the Buddha taught the Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, all of them became arahant. So you see how important is the hearing of the Sutta. The meditation part, the purpose of the meditation is to sharpen our mind. So when our mind is sharpened, then when we listen to the Dhamma, we contemplate, that is vipassana. So the meditation part is samatha. Listening to the Dhamma is the vipassana. That is why in the sutta, the Buddha says there are only 5 occasions when the arahant becomes liberated. The first one when he is hearing the Dhamma. The second one when he is teaching the Dhamma. The third one when he is repeating the Dhamma. The fourth when he is reflecting on the Dhamma. And then the last one is during meditation. So you see, out of these 5 occasions, 4 have to do with Dhamma. That's why we see in the Vinaya books, the first 1,060 arahants whom the Buddha helped to liberate, all of them, 1,060 attained arahanthood from listening to the sutta. They listened to the sutta and became liberated. So actually, there are fewer who meditate and attain enlightenment. There are much more who listen to the Dhamma and attain enlightenment. Okay, if nothing else, the talks the merit.